How you doing? Jason.
Jason.
Yep. Came all the way from South Dakota this morning just to see you guys.
Did you? Just see us guys. Good morning, everybody. We didn't buy it, I swear. No, really, we didn't. Dad's going to spray some with it this morning. His sprayer is still set up for side dressing, so that one's still here. They said we could run it if the opportunity presented itself. So, hasn't rained in like 48 hours. Dad put on some 28 yesterday with his. Pretty questionable, but we got to do what we got to do. So we're going to go spray a couple loads of corn, and then we'll probably go back to side dressing. Okay, here we are back in the Altras sprayer. I had some of my corn spray yet, and yesterday afternoon I run 28 with my miller. So this was still here, so I thought I'd just run another tank through it. Yesterday, Dad went up to one of the far farms and sprayed a load of 28. He actually took the trailer up there, left it, sprayed, and then filled up. So I'm going after the trailer. I wasn't with him yesterday, so get that back to the farm, and then that way when he gets done spraying corn, we can feed some corn. Well, I think I found out the traction control was just like the one I got. When you get in a hard pull, only one wheel will pull. That's what's happening here. All the weight goes to the other two, and I only got one wheel that will pull. So I can't get up this hill. So I thought that's what the traction control took care of, but I don't know. You can see where the water came down through this low spot. This spot right here, it'll be a while before it goes out. This is one of our lowest farms. This is always the first one that floods. This water hole is usually the first water hole that floods. I mean, the river is just around the other side of those trees, and it wraps around right through there. So, it doesn't get out during the summer very often. Like, I'm trying to think of how many times I can remember this happening, and it's not a lot. So, like maybe one more other time. This is probably the worst it's ever been out during the growing season too. But, like these beans up here might be fine. Looks like it went out of them pretty easy, or pretty quick. I don't know about them ones out there with the mud on the leaves. That can't be good for, you know, the crop. In all honesty, maybe like a 1/10 of an inch of rain would wash them leaves off, help them a little bit. I don't know. But there's definitely, those are done for down there. So there's going to be some holes in this field, and probably every field along the river. Fun fact, first time I ever drove a vehicle of any kind was right here. I was about 7 years old, and Dad was having me back up to a fertilizer wagon like this, and I almost ran over him. Well, Dad's done spraying corn, so now, well, he's done for now. So now we're going to start side dressing again. Looks like he's getting back in the miller now, so back to it. I reckon I'm going to hook up to the tank and then drag him a few loads of 28 and get some makers knocked out. Okay, here we are in the miller. We're side dressing corn. Okay, we've got to fill up here. So Brian's coming to bring their load. We'll fill up right here. Time to fill it up. This field he's doing now is the one that we had all the slug issues in. It's definitely looking better from my angle, but how's it look out in there? It looks like it's better. It's nice there's still some dead spots over in there. All in all, I think it looks better, but I mean it still hurt, but I wouldn't have gave you much money for it not long ago. Now this being corn after corn ground, it's getting a little extra nitrogen. I think Dad says he's putting on 35 gallons on this. He's putting on 30 everywhere else, and plus we put extra on. We put the dry on, and we put extra on. We put the first shot nitrogen on. So it's supposed to rain tonight, and this may sound weird, especially with how much rain we've had in the last week. But kind of hope it rains just a little bit. Being real picky, I know, but a quarter inch of rain would be great. I'll take that nitrogen down. It'll wash those beans off we seen earlier today. And that would be beneficial. What I don't want is like an inch of rain in 10 minutes, or like 4 inches of rain scattered throughout like 2 days. Just a quarter inch, and then I want it to not rain for about 5 to 10 days.
Okay, we're down here doing this field here where the plot's at, and I'm waiting on Brian to get here to fill me up. Looks like some rains are coming. So, I don't know how much we're going to get. Says severe thunderstorm warnings. So.
Well guys, that's going to be it for me in this video. I don't know if Dad's going to film anymore or not. I've got to actually take my dog to an animal hospital in Columbus for what sounds like it could be an emergency. So hopefully he is okay. So I got to go.
Okay, just finished up here, and it's raining a little bit, sprinkling a little bit. So now we're going to just clean them up a little bit, wash it up. Try to before I put it in there. Get some 28 off of it.
Update on Diesel. Just got a phone call from the doctor. I'm still on my way home. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. He is stable now, so he's not out of the woods yet, but hopefully he's going to be okay. Good morning, everybody. Starting the day off dropping off a Brown Farms hat. So, if you are interested in one of those, I'm still having trouble with my website. Can't get it to accept payment. So if you want one of those, check out the Facebook page. But after we get done with this, we're going to drag out the draper heads and get the combines out and hopefully get them ready for wheat harvest. It is supposed to rain this afternoon, but after that it looks like we have like 5 dry days, so hopefully we can knock out some wheat this week.
Okay, here we are spraying again today. Got 3 or 4 more fields like get done. The spraying here a couple 3 hours away, so I don't know if we get it or not. So we finished this 26 acre East 2 fields. We're ready to move on to the next field.
Yeah, like I said, gotta get both these headers out, but they have flat tires, so air them up first and then we'll get on. Well, tires off the beads, so we're going to have to jack it up and hit it with the bead blaster. Then maybe we'll get some air out. Alright, let's get the bead blaster. Now, I suspected we might have this issue, so I had the bead blaster in the truck. Fire in the hole. And again. Yeah, 4th time was the charm on that. Feel like Mr. What was it, Mr. Wilson on Home Improvement? Toolman's neighbor? I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen that one. Hoping we can use this little tractor to pull these heads out with. Might be a little easier. Massive fail. Yep. Hey, Tiger. That's the view out that side. We're just gonna send it. Feel our way out the door. Nailed it. Turn on my birdie lights. You ever just zone out while you're driving and completely go past the driveway you're gonna turn in? Yeah, me neither. We're just out here taking the header for a drive. Yep. Perfect. Well, I was driving by a certain guy's house, and it happens to be lunchtime. When he calls me, says, "What are you doing for lunch?" Oh, I bet you can't guess who that was.
Yeah. People want off. You know, people want off for a holiday, or they want other day.
Alright, go get that other header moved, and then see what else we get. We got some bush hogging to do, and then if it's not raining yet, I think we're going to start greasing the combines. And might have an agronomist from AGCO coming to look at this test plot, so I don't know if I'll see him or not, but maybe, we'll see. Well, that's an interesting setup. I'm waiting on the AGCO agronomist and our Ohio Ag salesman to get here, so I figured I'd come over here and check his field out. This was the field we cleaned up. It was a pine stand. It's the first time I've seen it for a few weeks, so it's like the beans came up. I mean, there's several wet spots. This is probably compaction related, I would imagine, while they're holding water there. It doesn't look bad. I mean, like I say, this ground probably needs a lot of nutrients, but it looks a whole lot better like this than it did, you know, just growing up with foxtail and mare's tail and a bunch of other weeds. So. Here's the deer are really happy I planted these beans though. Yep, may not have slug damage, but probably gonna have deer damage. How many people does it take to look at a corn plot? Stay tuned to find out. Now we're kind of walking this plot with Jason Lee. He's the AGCO agronomist.
Yep.
And as you see in one of the other videos, the stand's a little thin, and on out there it's still a little thin. What's your take on it? I mean, is it insect damage?
I certainly.
Wet weather?
Yeah, I mean, you know, with the weather that we've had and kind of the poor planting conditions, you know, you certainly can probably attribute it to some of that. I certainly don't feel like it's any mechanical issues. We don't really see any. There's no real pattern. There's really no pattern. And there is definitely slug damage out there. If it is insects, maybe it's pretty drastic. I wouldn't think the slug damage would be that bad.
Right.
At this point, you know, I'd probably, you know, just attribute it to the bad or the poor planting conditions. You know, especially if it got a cold. You know, you planted that seed and it got a cold drink of water right afterwards. You know, that can really affect the germination. You know, spotty, and I mean, if you got in the middle there, I mean, there's spots where, you know, there's barely any plants. Definitely not.
Yeah, it's going to be a horseweed patch.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's the weird thing. I mean, like right here in front of us where there's corn, it looks good, and then on the other side of the thin spots, the corn looks good, but it's just, like I said, there's no real pattern to it. It's just kind of sporadic throughout the field. And unfortunately, where the test plot is probably the more affected area of the field.
I will point out, because, you know, some people probably have this question as they drive by the field. I mean, or, you know, a lot of fields. We're not really sure what causes it, but if you look out, you will see a lot of almost highlighter yellow type leaves sticking out there. So that's twisted whorl syndrome. And, you know, whether if that's due to, you know, it's driven by different weather factors, we're not real sure, but what will happen is as that plant's developing, those leaves, like that whorl, will get twisted up in itself, and then, you know, since it can't photosynthesize, it's twisted up in that whorl, it becomes really yellow like that. And then finally, when it's able to unwhorl, that's when we kind of notice the tips. But that, you know, you may see it a little bit more in some hybrids than others, but it's not necessarily an issue. It's not an issue at all. You know, those will grow out of it. But
it looks kind of funny for a while.
Yeah, it does. Just cosmetic damage. Nothing serious. But
perfect. Yeah. We'll walk some more of this field and see what else we can find.
Might later in the year. Thank you, sir. That'll work.
Now, is that an AGCO approved shovel? There goes the profit.
Yeah, you can see. We'll go dig up one of the 2 inches, but
is this the 1.5 inches?
This is right at 1 inch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can see these nodals up here that are just real shallow.
That last one was 1.5 inches?
Just 1 inch.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it should be quite a bit.
So it should be. So this is 1 inch. This is 2.5. You know, that's one thing I'm looking for here is just see how these top nodal roots are developing. I don't see a tremendous amount of difference here, but you know, maybe later, like you said, maybe later in the year, once it gets, if it gets dry.
Yeah.
You know, these plants that were planted at 1 inch, you know, they definitely won't have the root development.
Right.
You can have some rootless corn, and so if it does get dry.
If it happened to stay wet like it has been, would the shallower corn theoratically do better? Just
no, it probably won't do better.
Okay, it just won't be as much of a drag.
Yeah, maybe not. You know, there's some other you know, like as your nitrates move down deeper in the soil profile, you know, these, if you don't have as much root development here, you know, that's something that'll hurt, but.
Yeah, story of the year, storm coming.
We might get to see a bunch of salesmen and AGCO guys get saturated because it is raining hard.